$1 million for one Hyperliquid airdrop. That is how much this absolute legend of CC2 has made. And keep in mind that this was actually posted when Hyper was trading at just under $5. Currently it's trading about just over $8. So if he's still not selling, his airdrop allocation from just one airdrop is worth almost $2 million. And guys, he's not the only one. There's been hundreds and thousands of people around the world who have made life-changing gains from just one airdrop. There's been people in our Discord making everything between thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it is just beautiful to see. In today's video, we're going to go into so much detail. What has made Hyperliquid such a smashing success? What are the lessons we can learn from it? And what are the strategies we can use with this knowledge to best position ourselves for an absolutely incredible next couple of weeks, months, and maybe even years in airdrop world? This is maybe the most important video you're going to see this month or maybe even this year. Let's fucking go. Super quick digression before we get technical. Apparently I have a spy in my Instagram followers because somehow this story from the other day actually made its way to CC2. Absolutely hilarious. But guys, seriously, we have such incredible crypto influencers. We have Santiago, CC2, Cole, Patrick, Drake. These guys, we are all interacting in our crypto bubble in a way, right? We're talking in our Discords, in our Twitters, in our Telegrams, but there's a huge world out there that does not have a clueless idea of what's going on within crypto. How many people are in this industry? 500 million? Half a billion, right? And there's 8 billion people in the world today. So of course, this next part is crucial, that there's a super thin line between conviction and delusion, right? We have to be aware that this is a very new industry. It can all go to zero tomorrow, but since world and life operates in percentages and probabilities, chances of that in a more digitalized and virtual world are becoming ever slimmer with every day. So if we are truly believers that there is actually a bit of a technological and financial revolution happening in front of our own eyes, isn't it kind of our duty to help onboard the next billion, 2 billion, 5 billion people into crypto? It kind of is. And personally, I've not seen a better onboarding tool than airdrops because take a look. You have minimal risk of capital, you're risking your time, but you have a potential not only to learn about DeFi, tokenomics, about blockchain in general, about so many things in the crypto space, but you also have a chance to make a significant amount of capital for your journey. It's kind of like an internship that doesn't suck. Essentially. So yeah, that's my thesis on airdrops. I've said it quadrillion times and I stick by it for every single word. Lastly, if you have friends, family who want to get into crypto, but they want some perspective, now you can show them this incredible debate between two very polarizing opinions of Peter Schiff and Roald Paul. It is 3 hours long, but worth every damn minute of it. And now let's take a look at what exactly made Hyperliquid such an incredible success story of 2024. First, let's take a look at tokenomics. So here we can see that they've had really minimal VC funding, if any, because core contributors have received only 24% of whole token supply. Some of it also went to Hyperliquid Foundation and a little bit went to community grants. And the tiniest part was for Hyperliquidity, which was launching their L1. Now, this is the crucial part. Genesis distribution. So launch airdrop has been given 31% whole token supply. What is a better marketing for a project than when you do something like that, when the chart is up only, as of now, of course, not financial advice, not telling you to buy now, but just pure logic. When you have such a perfectly crafted tokenomics, how is it going to be anything else than a smashing success? And on top of it all, there's also 39% reserved for future emissions and community rewards. So we don't really know which part is going to be for future emissions of some other kind and what is going to be future airdrops, but this is a huge amount that is still reserved for future initiatives. And guys, let's be real, on top of it all, have you ever seen a more centralized exchange looking DEX? Personally, I have. You could set multiple take profit levels. You could set multiple stop loss levels. You could see all of your trade history. This is like trading on a centralized exchange. And on top of it all, it was also super low fees with the highest amount of volume that I've seen on a DEX in a long time, not like since GMX days. So a combination of all of these things. You could see in a smooth UI, you could see your P&L, you could see your all-time balance changes, but most importantly, it was so smooth to see the positions taken, profits taken, losses incurred, a couple liquidations as well, but it was all just very, very smooth. So when you have a combination between a great product, amazing tokenomics, competent team that actually listens to the community, it is very, very clear to see what all of these factors combine into one very, very straightforward launch. Now, there are a couple other Perp DEX airdrops that I'm looking at, but before we go into those, remember that life is not always fair. If you have maybe qualified for some high rank on Hyperliquid, but you did not accept terms and conditions, personally, I know people who would have made 5 and mid 6 figures from this, but they didn't press the goddamn button in time. Even though we've said quadrillion times, life isn't fair. But if there is any remote chance of getting your allocation, nevertheless, there is a very tiny chance that you can ask in their Discord. Be polite, be respectful, understand that the team has the final say, but you should really definitely take all the avenues that you can and try to, in a fair, polite way, say what's going on. There's a small chance that team actually decides to listen, and maybe some of these future 39% that is still reserved for future, maybe there's a small chance that you still get your allocation. So yeah, do everything in your power, but again, focus on stuff in your control. Team has the final say, and that's it. Now, aside from a clear favorite in Hyperliquid, there are some interesting alternatives as well. So if you're looking to diversify your Perp DEX airdrop farming, here's what you can look at. You have Polynomial, which has recently launched their 8-week campaign, which is going to distribute 120,000 Optimism tokens. And considering that they only have $134 million in total value locked when it comes to volume, then perhaps it is an interesting target because it is not very farmed, but they do have a very interesting 2-in-1 opportunity considering they don't have a token themselves yet. Another one I'm looking at is Rhea, and Rhea is another perp DEX which is not really talked about too much, but they've been going strong since April, and they have a points program, and they actually have a pretty decent UI. So if you're looking for another potentially smooth user experience, Rhea could be your bet. And finally, if we're looking at Solana, there is really no many better plays than Drift. We have a points program in the form of their fuel airdrop as well. And finally, if you're looking to potentially use some trading on leverage, which is of course not recommended, but if you know what you're doing, you can use some leverage. You can look at this incredible token unlock of Jito. So they're literally doubling the circulating supply on December 7th. So if you're a trader and you want to potentially bet on the fact that they're going to double the supply, which will maybe reflect negatively in price, at least short term, potentially taking this short on Jito could be a very, very lucrative opportunity. And now we come to the most important part of how to actually use the strategies we learned on Hyperliquid to apply to future airdrop hunting and airdrop farming. First of all, if you missed the generational Hyperliquid airdrop, there's no need to be mad. You'll also miss the next one. No, obviously, we don't want you to miss the next one, but here's the thing. You need to understand how to do your own research when it comes to airdrop farming. So we're going to take a look at this post, which, okay, I know I'm referencing CC2 quite a lot, and the fact of the matter is a lot of people in our Discord, they believe that we are the same person because our logic is very, very similar. We have almost 80-90% same strategy, but that's just the reality of the situation, that when you are doing something for a long time and you start to recognize some patterns, then obviously if you network with successful people, then obviously you're all going to be doing the best things, or what you believe to be the best things, and obviously you're going to have very similar strategies. But that's the point of a community. You need to associate yourself with people who are doing this. You can share ideas, bounce ideas off each other, and then you're going to have the best results. But let's say that you don't do that and you're just following some influencers or people. How do you make the best with what you have? So here on this example, he's sharing ideas about Hyperlane, Meteora, Azura, about Palm.fun and Polymarket. You can go through the whole post on your own. It is very, very, very interesting topics, but let's take an example of what makes potential airdrop target the best airdrop target possible. First, we need to have solid tokenomics. Second of all, we need to have a situation where not a lot of people are actually farming the airdrop itself, right? And third of all, we need to have a competent team building a great product. So that's a third pillar. And finally, it all has to come together in proper execution if they don't fumble anything on the launch day. Of course, funding is another huge factor, but it is not always disclosed, so we have to work with what we have. Let's take an example of all of this in practice with Meteora. Starting with how many people are actually farming the airdrop. And if you've taken a look at their Meteora leaderboard recently, you would understand that if you've put just a couple $100 or $1,000 and you've left there in just maybe a couple months, you would probably be in top 10,000 of all users. So if anyone has been actively farming it, you are easily top 1,000. Now, the other thing that you need to understand is if the project is very, very difficult to use, or at least very different methodology than most other airdrop farming, where you just make a bridge transaction or you deposit liquidity or something, then you can understand that the whole Meteora user interface, even though the product itself is incredible, it is a bit of an acquired taste because, first of all, when you log in, you go to all of these pools and you can easily get lost because you find some random meme coins here and you're thinking to yourself, where the hell have I come? But okay, let's say you go to Sol USDC and then you've maybe done some LPing on Trader Joe or somewhere else. And then you see, okay, I somewhat understand bins, but what is this? 1, 4, 50, 80, like what is going on here? And then you see all these fees and then all these pools. It's very confusing. And on top of it all, you see these percentages and you think that this is APY, but it's actually 24-hour yield. So yes, it is not very intuitive, but the product itself is remarkable because once you learn to master it, you can generate 10, 15, 20% on super basic pairs, and we're talking about weekly. So you suffer minimum impermanent loss because both SOL and USDC are the pairs that you actually want to probably hold for the mid to long term, but you can really set up ranges as high or as low as possible. Again, we've done many tutorials on Meteora. I don't want to repeat myself, but from that perspective, you can understand why not a lot of people are actually farming it, why it might actually be a good area. Now, let's take a look at how competent the team is. And from this perspective, guys, it's the same team as Jupiter. They simply branched off in a different perspective. They want to make the best DeFi yield farming platform on Solana. And of course, how good the product is, we've literally just went through that, so no point to repeat myself. Finally, tokenomics. We don't have the exact tokenomics just yet because the Meteora token is not even confirmed yet. As a matter of fact, there is actually a 10% stimulus proposal happening on December 1st. Maybe by the time you're watching this video, the the whole proposal is actually already in motion, but we will definitely keep you updated with this one because this is actually going to differentiate if we're going to have a Meteora token or not. The final part of the research is, of course, to interact with their community, to join their Discord, to see if people are friendly, if they're actually helping each other. Meteora is very unique in that regard because they actually have a bootcamp that's like a 4-hour session over a couple days that actually teaches people how to do proper yield farming. So I don't think I've seen anything like that with other projects before. So big like for that. There's also other discords such as fee printers, which really help you maximize those juicy APRs on Meteora, but that's a topic for another day. Hopefully we're going to have Token Guy on our channel soon. He's an absolute legend when it comes to Meteora yield farming, so very excited for this one as well. And those are all the lessons, strategies, and knowledge that we can use from Hyperliquid to make our airdrop farming in the future even more profitable than it has been so far. In our Discord, of course, we talk about all the active strategies, all the active airdrops that we are currently farming, all the best ways to position yourself, even when you receive an airdrop, what price ranges potentially to sell it, how to best make the absolute most out of this market, this beautiful bull market that we have in front of us. If you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe with bell notifications on. If you have any questions, comments, make sure to drop them in the comment section below. And all the info we always talk about are always in the first link or the description of every video. Thanks for watching and have an absolutely amazing day.